Hi, everyone. Beauty Talent Talk was created to highlight beauty executives and topics that we can all relate and benefit from. How often do you get the opportunity to hear from executives on what they're focusing on when hiring? Reality, not often. So I've taken clips from each episode where I ask, what are the attributes you look for when hiring? So if you're actively looking for a new opportunity or passively considering an opportunity in 2026, take a few minutes to listen to these beauty executives and what they hone in on when hiring. Their insights are invaluable. I learned from each one of these guests, and I truly enjoyed our unique conversations. Additionally, I want to thank all of our guests who took the time out of their busy schedule to support our mission of inspiring and empowering growth in the beauty community.
So, where I am, I'm hiring a lot of senior level executives on my C suite. So, for me, what is important is somebody who is a very good thought partner of mine. And I really would love for people to be quite different from myself, not in terms of the attributes, but more in terms of thinking. Because sometimes I may think a certain way, and another person may kind of say, look, this is not how you should be approaching something. So I think, diversity of thinking, a thought partner, and also chemistry. There are many great executives out there, but if you don't have the right chemistry and you don't feel comfortable with that individual, it's going to be tough. I mean, I'll give you a good example. I've always felt so comfortable with my CFOs, who are my right hand, right? And I have never not felt comfortable enough to call my CFO if there was a crisis. Even, I mean, I don't do that all the time, but I've done it at midnight. And so I'll say, we need to get this out of the door like first thing tomorrow morning. You've got to have that kind of camaraderie, and that your CFO doesn't look at you and think you have completely gone off the rails for doing that, right? Because at the end, they understand you, they know who you are. So those are things that I look for people, and not to abuse them if they are like really great at delivering, but to really lean in on them when I need them.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I can tell you for me, I think there's typically a few areas that I always want to understand. Number one, do they have the technical skills for the job that I'm looking for, right? And if they don't, do they have enough of them that I can lean in if there's a right fit? So there's a skill set question. The second is really around do they want to be part of this brand and this organization or not? Is this going to be just another job, or is there something beyond the technical work that they're going to do that they're articulating why they want to be a part of it, right? And then the third, but probably the most important, are they a cultural fit?
Yes.
Are they the person? Do they have the EQ portion that we want in the organization? Are they going to come in and be a superstar that's going to be an island in and of themselves that's going to create more issues than anything else? Or do they want to be joining an ecosystem where they're going to contribute and they're going to get just as much, right? So attitude, technical skill set, and passion are the three areas that we look at.
I am really interested in business passion and acumen. So like I want to know, does the candidate, is she familiar with the business that you're in? Does she know your brand? Does she know your competitors? Is she reading the trades? Does she have thoughts on particular to her own function or just in general, like what are some things that she's seeing that are really good, things that she's seeing that could be applied to your business? Like I'm sort of looking to is she out in the world, like listening, hearing, reading, thinking about the business and what makes businesses successful? So I usually do ask a question like that, like where do you get your information? What are you reading? What other brands in this category are you really interested in? Like what other brands not in this category are you really interested in, and why? Obviously that's coming from like a very consumer perspective, but I always want to know about that, because no matter what function you're in, like you might be a social media manager or you might be a CFO, but I think it's really valuable to know what's happening
Absolutely.
in the business environment that you're working in. I also just look for a super strong work ethic. So I want to know that your work is an important part of your sense of self, your personal identity. Like for me, those things aren't separate. that's not how I approach my work and my life. I have a family, I have 3 kids, I have like my own personal and social life, but my work is an incredibly important part of who I am to me. And I actually want people who feel the same way, because that's going to contribute to the extent to which they're passionate about making the business successful.
What I would say is that beyond your connection moment, your skills, your experience, the stories, that person in front of you almost has this bubble above their head that is what we call the WIFM. What's in it for me if I hire you? And that's where Debbie and I keep going back to, what's your business case for yourself to be the best answer to what this person in front of you needs on their team right now? And the closer you can get into that, and it's really a mindset shift from, I'm going to present myself in the best way I can, to I'm really going to try to understand holistically this person in front of me and what they need, and tailor actively in the discussion, trying to have a discussion, not just a present out, but have a discussion with this person about why you are what's in it for them, that you are the answer and can really add tremendous value to them if you were to be hired on that person's team.
So that has totally changed for me, because I'm no longer looking for what's on their resume or in their past experience. I'm now looking for curiosity, courage, and commitment to growth. Because if someone's willing to learn, they can adapt to nearly any job. So I'm looking for people who aren't trying to put a finish line on their training. They're open to evolving again and again. And agility is mattering more.
I don't know if every manager is like this, but I actually did not always look for industry experience. I looked at three areas. So one, I looked at what were the immediate needs, because coming from sales, I know you support a lot of different roles, but I looked at what were the immediate needs of that territory, or if it's like a marketing role, that specific role. So what were the immediate needs? For me, it was, if it was an emerging territory, I can take a little bit more of a risk on hiring somebody that was a little bit greener than a territory that had a lot of key opinion leaders. I might need somebody that's a little bit more established in their sales career for that particular territory. So what are the needs of the immediate team or role? Then what were the needs of my team? So each person on my team brought a different skill set to the overall team. So I had some people that were great in marketing, some people that had an aesthetics, like worked in an office, and so they had the inner office understanding of what it was like, that was a value add. Or I had some people that had an esthetician background. And so I looked at what were the immediate needs of my team. And then also the third one was time. For me, would I enjoy spending 8 hours in the car with this person on a field ride along? That was important too. So a lot of times it wasn't necessarily, did this person have industry experience? While that was valuable, I looked at, did this person have transferable skills? Because I can teach you products, I can teach you sales processes, but for me in sales, I can't teach you to wake up every single morning and hit the ground running and have the same motivation, enthusiasm to hit your number every single quarter after quarter.
Sure.
So I looked more for characteristics and transferable skills than I did necessarily, you had to have 5 years out, 5 years experience in the industry.
Yeah, so I think first question might be surprising, but it's will be shocking the amount of times that I get an answer that's not what you least expect. But it's the first is when was the last time you were in a Sephora or an Ulta is the first question I ask, and only because I think the beauty industry is very it is requires a lot of patience, and it's so fast moving and dynamic, and I think it requires a bit of an obsession with product, and I think having that obsession to be around product and just seeing it and being immersed in it is essential. And so that I use that question at least as a barometer to understand how in tune that the candidate is. So that's the first is understanding kind of that piece, kind of that understanding. The second is then to build off of that is understanding a product that they find interesting and innovative, and why, and have them kind of take me through the why behind it. And that can be, packaging, raw material, the usage, the insight, whatever it might be, but just to understand the thought process around why. I always find it fascinating to see how people think about product and how consumers interact with it, and how they would build out a product story, because I think that's, a product is, to me, innovation is never one thing. It's never just a raw material play, and it's never just packaging. It's always this kind of the story. And so I find people that can see that sensitivity of this kind of a well-crafted innovation story is really powerful. So having that piece to it. And then I think lastly is really kind of like how they work well cross-functionally, because I think now more than ever it's that ability to, from an innovation perspective. Luckily, where I see the industry going, which is awesome, is product development and innovation is no longer kind of a separate siloed team. I see more and more brands that were formerly, I think, really marketing led, evolving to be slowly, whether it's product development and marketing having a shared seat at the table, or maybe being slightly even more product led. I don't even know, but it's great. It's great. Yes, which is like, and it shows in how the brand performs, et cetera. Maybe I'm biased, but anyway, but I think it's amazing. And so I think that, but that means that you need to have that ability to work cross-functionally, specifically with your marketing partners, and your supply chain, et cetera, partners. And so having that ability to work cross-functionally and to be able to sell in your ideas in a way that's thoughtful and respectful is really critical. So having that ability is really powerful. So that obsession with the industry, that ability to storytell in a creative way to your marketing partners, and that ability to work cross-functionally, I think is critical.